Good evening, everybody. We are happy to welcome you on our Hangouts on Air dedicated to AdSense. Time flies, and it actually is the second live session already in our second season. And today's topic is dedicated for AMP, and actually a bit more deep dive here. So AMP WordPress plugin, and Google Analytics insights, and how you can use them in terms of AMP optimization. Before we start, quick round of interest. So my name is Olga, and I'm working in Google as strategic partner manager. And the major idea is my role is to help publishers monetize their content efficiently. And today is James here with me. And James, please introduce yourself.
Hi guys, I'm James. So I help out with WordPress and websites. I'm a technical specialist here at Google. So I'm happy to be here as well today.
Thank you so much, James. So several housekeeping rules before we start. So speaking about the content today, it's going to cover about like 30 minutes. And after we are done with the content, you can actually ask questions. While we are talking and speaking right now, you can still already submit some questions via live chat on YouTube, or otherwise you have this link where you can also like post some questions. If you haven't registered for the regular updates for our AdSense on air, you can actually follow the link and do so. Please feel free to share that links with the rest of the publishers that you know and for whom it might be interesting as well. We also care a lot about your opinion. And if you feel like there is some topic you actually want us to cover in the next sessions, please go ahead and submit your opinion. It's really important and we actually read it. And plus, after we submit you the survey link asking you about your opinion, as soon as you submit it, you will have the option to download the presentation that we have presented today. So feel free to take notes like meanwhile, but also be aware that you will receive the deck afterwards. So moving closer to the agenda items. So what we have today. First of all, I want to make the introduction for AMP. So what is it and why it's important to use AMP? Then James will cover more about AMP and WordPress plugin and how we can use WordPress plugin for optimization purposes. Then I will briefly cover Google Analytics Insight. Why is it important to have analytics integrated and what we can do with it? And the last piece, but not the last, is questions and answers. I really encourage you to submit the questions. So whenever you think that maybe your question might be silly or people like always ask it, it's always good to ask it because actually like we can cover it right now in the live session. So let's start. And I want to familiarize with some stats and farms numbers first before I jump deep into the topic. So it's not a surprise for everybody that currently we are living in a mobile-first world. So actually we are using our mobile more and more often than our desktop. But however, we're still seeing some not good really results on mobile websites. So 75% of mobile sites take more than 10 seconds to load. And it's quite a lot, taking into account that 53% of mobile site visitors leave after 3 seconds. It means if your website is poorly optimized in terms of speed, the users would be very willing to leave your website as soon as possible. Moreover, the websites that are really good optimized in terms of mobile speed, they're getting much more money in terms of monetization. So what is important for you is to ensure that your user on your website, they have like really good mobile experience and your pages are being loaded really fast. Now the question is how you can actually do it and what somebody needs to do it. So first of all, in order to have this nice experience, we have to make sure that our pages are really fast, they're speedy, and they don't give a wait for the user. So they are loaded like pretty instantly. Then we have to make sure that these pages are easy to implement and you don't have to waste like a lot of time on implementation. So it can be done pretty simple. Then you have to ensure that once you optimize your web page, that it has to be mobile friendly and not only speedy on the desktop. The fourth element, you have to embrace the open web. Currently, we still have users who are accessing like the information from different countries. And sometimes it's very difficult to download the data like from certain countries. So you have to make sure that users can access information whenever they are in the world and whenever it's time of the day is. So please bear this in mind. And the last piece, if you optimize your website, you have to make sure that you are getting incentivized for it, right? So if your mobile web page is like really speedy and very optimized, you're getting like more money and more monetization incentives for this. So AMP appears to be a nice solution for all the points I have already mentioned. Websites using AMP are seeing also like pretty positive results. If you want me highlight several data points here, so the first one is that more time spent on AMP pages. So twice more users spend more time on AMP pages. So for example, if I go to a very regular web page, I will spend maybe 2 hours per day. But what we see in general is that if it's AMP page, so user will spend like twice more hours. So it's going to be 4 hours in total. 60% increase in page speed per visit. So users coming from AMP pages, they see better increase in page views per visit. 10% increase in year-over-year traffic with AMP pages. So if you have mobile pages optimized for AMP version, you can actually see the increase in traffic as well. And what is most important actually, if we speak about conversions here, so 20% increase in sales conversion, which is quite great number to tell the truth. So if your mobile experience is optimized and you have AMP pages there, then you can actually see nice increase in conversion rates as well. I have several examples of the publishers who shared their success stories with us. So for example, The Time, they saw a 13% increase in time spent on their website once they introduced mobile page experience with AMP. We also have a nice increase coming from mail.ru. It's a Russian website, and we saw 67% increase in new visitors, also after AMP pages have been implemented on the website. And there are much more success stories to go, just like several ones to highlight the experience. Just a few things on how to begin creating a beautiful AMP experience and make sure your user is happy with the UX he sees on your website. If you want to have a nice practical example, you can go on the website, which is called like Spiegel Daily. It's one of our partners who managed to have like nice representation of AMP pages, both on mobile experience, and you can see how actually the mobile page looks here. But AMP is not only for mobile pages. You can see this experience on the desktop as well. You can also check this website on the desktop and see how it's well optimized for AMP pages there. Just have a look and see if you can use these best practices for your website. If you're looking for more inspiration and more templates to use, there is one resource which I highly recommend. It's called ampstart.com, and it has a whole collection of ready-made templates which you can use for AMP websites. So check it out and see if you can use something there. It might be very useful. Plus, there is one resource available which is called ampbyexample.com, and it helps you to find detailed examples for capabilities and components. In simple words, it's like Lego or puzzle. So you can actually go to the website and see what kind of features you want to implement on your website. You can copy these components and introduce it to your web code. So play around with it as well, and maybe you will find some customized solution for your website which you can actually use. Moving on, it's very important to see if the user can navigate your content pretty easily and you still remain the same level of user experience while your user is moving from page to page or still navigating the same page. So make sure you provide navigational elements and content recommendations to lower the bounce rate. If you're still hesitating of all the beta tests and you're wondering how the navigational element should look like, I would advise you to test it on yourself. So for example, when you go on the website and when you start browsing on the website, try to assess if it's comfortable for you to do the purchase, if it's comfortable for you to read the news, and so on and so forth. If you already get tired of your website, maybe you should ask your close friend and he can also have a look at the website and see if it's working or not. So any feedback is nice to have. As a second point, it's good to ensure that all links from AMP pages lead to other AMP pages. So this is the mistake that I observe pretty regularly. So usually the publishers, they make just like one AMP pages, maybe like homepage, and that's it. And then they don't have this interlink. So the user is not coming from AMP pages to another AMP pages. What I recommend here is be careful and make sure that all AMP pages are linked. And as soon as you give your user this AMP experience, he still remains on this AMP page. AMP also supports many different ad formats. So it doesn't matter if you want to implement a banner ad, a sticker ad, a flying copy, promotive content, or video ad. All kinds of ads are still available on AMP pages, and you can use them both on mobile and desktop. Once you have implemented the AMP pages on your website and you are done with ad units implementation of your website, it's also important to assess the results and see how successful is it. And here I want to highlight the reporting that you can use in AdSense as well, and how you can actually see the performance of your ads on AMP pages. So the basic report, which I use all the time, it's available in Performance Reports tabs under the tab Content Platform. And when you choose like Content Platform, you can filter by high-end and mobile devices, and you can filter by desktop as well. So the example which is available here, so you go to Performance Reports, then you click Report Type Content Platform, then you filter by high-end mobile devices, and you can see the split, AMP pages and web pages. So for example, you tick the box for AMP pages and you press filter, and then you will be able to see the performance. It's also important to compare the performance of AMP pages with web pages, plus to compare the performance of AMP pages during different sets of time. For example, if you want to see how your website was performing with AMP pages in comparison with AMP pages, but like in 30 days, you can select this time frame and press the button compare, and you will see the comparison available here. And just to summarize from all I have said, so important elements and key drivers of AMP pages and what to focus on. So first thing, make sure you have AMP pages. It doesn't matter whether it's a news or article-based website or you still have e-commerce. This experience is important for everybody. It's important now to have AMP pages for almost all kinds of verticals. So traffic to the web pages and AMP pages should be there. Then you have to make sure that AMP implementation is done in a nice way and the users is happy with UX design. And the last part, you have to be aware of the ad density on the website. Make sure that AMP ad density is comparable with AMP density on regular pages. What it means in a simple words. So if you have 3 ad units on your mobile web pages, make sure that you also have 3 ad units on AMP pages. Otherwise, these numbers are not really comparable. If you put 1 ad unit on your AMP pages, it might be difficult to compare it with 3 ad units already on the mobile web pages. So here's the summary for AMP. I'm going to give a word to James, who's going to cover the AMP WordPress insights.
Thanks, Olga. That was very interesting. So we're going to talk now about AMP and WordPress. Using the official WordPress plugin for AMP, it makes AMP much easier. We've collaborated with industry-leading names in the WordPress ecosystem to build this plugin. The plugin allows WordPress users to easily achieve AMP-valid content. The latest version of the plugin provides numerous enhancements on previous versions. Here you'll see a diagram of the evolution of the official plugin. The latest version provides 3 different modes, allowing users to choose the best option to suit their website. I'm going to tell you a little bit about each mode and how it works. So with Classic Mode provides an easy introduction to AMP. This was the default and only option available in previous versions of the plugin. Classic Mode features a basic look and feel. To ensure compatibility, it disregards your existing WordPress theme. And in Classic Mode, the plugin automatically converts all content to AMP valid content. Any non-AMP valid content is automatically stripped out for your AMP pages. For custom JavaScript or non-valid functionality, developers can make use of the various AMP components, such as navigation menus or slideshows. All individual pages and posts will have AMP versions, but not category pages or custom taxonomies. Classic Mode also means you will have an AMP version of your website and a non-AMP version of your website. In this diagram, you can see briefly how easy it is to install AMP and get started using Classic Mode. If you have a static type content website with little or zero custom JavaScript, you're a great use case for AMP. In as little as 2 minutes, you can get started with AMP and have an AMP version using Classic Mode. As you will see from the dashboard, all you need to do is click on Plugins, Add New, search for AMP, and look for the official AMP plugin. Once you find the official plugin, it's just a case of clicking on Install and Activate. That's it. You're now enrolled in AMP Classic Mode and have an AMP version of your pages and posts. There's also Chrome extensions available so you can view your AMP valid posts. Next, I'm going to talk about paired mode using the official plugin. Whilst most publishers use Classic Mode, we would always recommend publishers try to use paired mode. With paired mode, it offers more consistency. Your AMP URLs and pages look the same as your non-AMP. It looks the same as your mobile website. It also provides error reporting. So the plugin highlights any non-AMP valid content, and you can choose which action to take. Accepting any errors means you accept the plugin removes this functionality to ensure AMP content. Rejecting means any URLs with that functionality won't have an AMP version. Paired mode with content types with paired mode means you can enable AMP for particular pages, posts, categories, or even different content types. Widgets and different content areas will also appear on your AMP posts. With themes, there's an ever-increasing collection of AMP-valid themes, making it easy to replicate your mobile website with your AMP website. Using paired mode, you will have a standard version of your website running alongside your AMP version of your website. In this diagram, you'll see an example of error validation, which is a feature of the official plugin. In native or paired mode, it may require troubleshooting and validation. The plugin is here to support you. This inbuilt compatibility tool helps you spot errors, from affected URLs, the source of the error, to the type of the error. The goal of this feature is to minimize your effort in troubleshooting and help you build AMP-compatible websites. Lastly, I'm going to talk about using native mode with the official plugin. Using native mode means your website is AMP first, and by default, it will not feature a /AMP suffix in the address bar. Using native mode also provides automatic conversions. The plugin converts all content to AMP valid content. It also features automatic removal. It removes any non-AMP valid content to ensure AMP valid URLs. With regards to appearance and themes, just like with paired mode, there's an ever-increasing collection of AMP valid themes, making it easy to replicate your mobile website with your AMP version. Content types, you can enable AMP for particular pages, posts, or categories or content types. Widgets and content areas will also appear, just as they will with your mobile website. With regards to delivery, visitors to your website will be served an AMP version where possible. In search, unlike with classic or paired mode, using AMP native mode means that your website will your AMP website is the one that will get indexed. Native mode works best for websites that don't have much custom JavaScript before adopting AMP. One other feature I'd like to talk about with the official AMP plugin is adding analytics. AMP supports over 50 plus analytics vendors and counting. You can see the full list at the website ampproject.org. In this diagram, you'll see to add your analytics to your AMP pages, it's just a case of under the Add New Entry section, you can enter, for example, Google Analytics, and you can link that with your Google Analytics account. In the tab below under JSON configuration, you can copy and paste the provided code and replace the UA tag with your own analytics user code. After you do this, you are currently your AMP valid content is available in your analytics. Next, I'll talk about the official plugin website. If you'd like to see live websites using the official plugin, you can head over to the website at amp-wp.org/showcases. From there, you'll see that you don't have to compromise on quality to build an AMP valid website that loads fast and looks beautiful. There's also an opportunity for your own websites to get listed, providing your website has no validation errors and is using paired or native mode. Next, I'm going to talk through some common questions we get at Google with regards to AMP and their pages. So, first question is, how frequently do Google bots crawl our AMP pages? The answer is Google crawls and indexes AMP pages at the same rate as regular pages. Which version of my website gets indexed if I have an AMP version and a non-AMP version? Your non-AMP version is the one that gets indexed. Having an AMP version alongside your AMP does not impact on search. Another common question we get are what are the benefits of using the official AMP plugin? First thing I would say, it makes it easy to adopt AMP. Secondly, it highlights any non-AMP valid content and allows you to choose a course of action. The next thing I'll say is it provides different modes, allowing you to use your existing theme or go 100% AMP. Lastly, I'd say the official plugin is regularly updated and uses the latest AMP components library. One other question we get quite commonly is, how can I view my AMP pages? You can use a Chrome extension. The AMP validator is available in the Chrome extension store, and that allows you to view your AMP valid content. Another method is use the validator on the official website, validator.ampproject.org. I'm just going to pass you back over to Olga now. She can continue.
Yes, thank you so much, James, especially for the Q&A session here a bit, because I think like the majority of questions I receive all the time were answered. So maybe it killed a lot of questions already that you were trying to post. But please keep posting questions so we'll have something to cover in the end as well. So I would like to talk more now about how Google Analytics insights can help you to optimize your monetization strategy. So speaking about Google Analytics and what is the tool for? So I want to highlight here the insights and the reporting that is available in the tool. And actually, you can integrate these insights while working on your Google AdSense monetization strategy. So several notes here, what you can get actually from GA, or as known as Google Analytics. So first one is audience insight. You can get to know like the gender, character, region, and environmental habits where your customer is coming from. Then you can make some judgments, I would say, and some insights on acquisition. And you can see page browsing behavior there as well. You can deep dive into behavioral things here, and you can actually see the website entrance and page duration, and also conversions is important. If you insert the conversion tag on your web pages, you can actually see what kind of conversions people were doing on your website. And conversion doesn't mean necessarily the purchase. It might be the click on the button, or it might be some action on your website that is very important for you to be trackable. So let me introduce you to some fictional character, and here is Mary. So what you can know about Mary when you just look at her on the left picture. So it's like a regular girl, I would say, like late 20s, who is working in the office probably. That's it basically. That's what you can learn from her. You can also, if you met her in city, for example, SF, you can say that she lives in SF and her age is about like 20, 30, and she is a female, and that's it. And with the help of GA and Google Analytics, you can actually drive more insights and get to know who is Mary. So for example, you would get to know that she likes tattoos, and she often researches on skin protection products. You can also get to know, so she just booked the ticket to travel to the middle of states to attend some music festival. And you can also tell maybe that she uploaded some new music on her laptop and she's listening to a certain style. So what makes it easier with Google Analytics is actually to learn who is your audience and how you can better optimize your content with the help of Google Analytics insights. Several reports are available there, which will help you to drive these conclusions. So first one is in-market segment reporting. So basically this report tells you what kind of users are there on your website. It might be software, business, and productivity software users. It might be users who are interested in employment opportunities. It might be users who are interested in travel, hotels, and accommodations. So all kind of these benchmarks will let you know what content is popular on your website. The next piece that's available in Google Analytics is the source channel. So you can deep dive here and see what kind of channel sources are majorly used by your audience and what helps you to drive traffic. So it might be organic search, it might be paid advertising, and so on and so forth. In many cases, it's social media as well. These insights will help you to drive the monetization strategy and see what is the most efficient channel for you. The last but not the least report that's available, it's called page views report for each session. What is important here is to know what kind of session drives like how deep I would say the page views are there. So you can actually see what kind of section has what kind of page views. And it will help you to see what section of your website is most popular and where the users spend their time on. And maybe it will give you some hints on how to develop content as well. When we use all these insights, you can draw like some strategy here. And I'm going to give you the example. And the example here is like customized report. Unfortunately, you don't have it available in Google Analytics. But what you can do, you can actually see how we can potentially segment our users and how we can actually help to adjust our monetization strategy. So what you see on the slide, on the y-axis, you see the revenue stream. On the x-axis, you see the page views. So if we split our users by segments and we start with the left bottom corner, we see the segment which has like low traffic and low revenue. Then on the left upper corner, we see low traffic, high revenue. Then we move to the right and see high traffic, high revenue, and then high traffic and low revenue. If I were a publisher, I would concentrate my attention mainly on two segments. So the first one is high traffic and low revenue, and the second one is low traffic and high revenue. So why would I do that? So the first segment, which has like loads of traffic but low revenue, it's very important for me to understand what can I do there to actually make sure that I have better revenue stream. And the majority of cases, it's influenced by website page monetization. So if you have some pages of the website which is really heavy in traffic, but you're not getting a lot of revenue there, make sure that you have used all kind of ad units and you have optimized the web speed properly to ensure a nice experience for you there. And it might happen that you will see increase in revenue there. And the next segment, which is important, is a segment which has like low traffic but high revenue. What it means that some pages are receiving like really, I would say, expensive audience. So people are coming to your website and they're reading certain information, but the amount of people coming to your website is not that high. So what I would do here, I would investigate more the channel sources and what helps you to drive traffic to your website more efficiently, and try to see whether you can optimize these pages and make sure that the pages with a high revenue, they can increase traffic as well. So this kind of prioritization will help you to drive some insights and make sure that you have more money coming from your monetization part of the business. You can also use this framework and position the insights which are more valuable for you. It doesn't have to be necessarily the revenue and page views. You might use different dimensions here and plan around with them. One of the dashs that we have available for you externally, it looks like this, and you will have it available once you go on our deck and you click the dash link, and you will have this dash in your browser. So what it does for you, it actually helps you to drive the insights on your AMP and web pages, but it's already ready-made research. So if you go to Google Analytics and you try to do it manually, sometimes it takes a lot of time to understand what kind of reporting you should use, what kind of data sources you should compare. And here we have the majority of metrics that we use to assess the quality of AMP pages and your web pages data. So for example, the basic metrics are the bounce rate, average page loads, and if you will scroll this dash on your browser, you will see much more. So you can actually compare the performance of your AMP pages versus the performance of the web pages. Plus, you can also compare different time frames. So if you want to see how your website was performing in terms of bounce rate and average load time, let's say a month ago before you implement AMP pages, and like right now after you have implemented AMP pages, you can also do it with the help of this dash. So just to highlight the visibility of this dash, you can play around and see like all the data sources available there. The most important part is to make sure that AMP pages are being tracked with the help of Google Analytics. If you're using Google Analytics, probably you have all the pages being tagged already with the code, so you can actually throw the information there and you can see it in your reporting. What happens quite often is that when the publisher is implementing AMP pages, they don't tag it with the Google Analytics tracking codes values. So what I want to highlight here is once you are done with AMP pages, please make sure that you have passed your code on your AMP pages and you have changed the value of the GA tracking. So you basically type the GA tracking ID. So that's how the code looks like. You will have it in your slides. And this information is also available on Google Analytics Help Center. So we're almost done with our presentation today, but before we close and move on to the questions, I want to make sure that you can get involved more in AMP initiatives, and several resources are available here for you. So first of all, make sure you join the AMP open source community on GitHub. This is a perfect tool to exchange your ideas and provide your feedback. So we value your feedback a lot, and there are plenty of cases when the feedback and the bugs raised here on the GitHub were used in terms of optimizing the code and improving the experience of the users. The second piece is a newsletter. Me personally, I'm being subscribed for this letter and I receive it quite regularly and I love it because it is the collection of the latest news available on AMP, and you can be also like in the top list of these people who are getting like these insights very regularly and stay up to date with all the information that's going on around the topic. It also has a nice update of any conferences that are happening worldwide. So if you're up to traveling and meeting new people who are interested in the field, so you can also go ahead and do it. And the last bit, it's more about monetization piece on AMP, but I really love the resource as well. So on Medium, you can find 8-week series on AMP monetization posted by Google PM. So I really recommend reading through these articles because it provides a lot of insights from ad density to viewability, from multi-size to fluid sizes, how to do monetization, out ads. And it covers not only AdSense, but also touches Ad Manager related topics as well. So if you're using Ad Manager in your practice, so it might be a nice tool to make a research and to show around what's going on there. So thank you so much, guys, for your attention today. It was a pleasure to present this material, and we hope you really enjoyed and it was useful. As I mentioned to you, you will get the slides pretty quick. But before we say bye, I want to cover some questions that we have received already. Just let us check what kind of questions are there. Yeah, James, if you feel like taking any questions, let me know.
let's just take a quick look. So I hope I get the name right. Volker, Volker asks about his navigation menu in AMP. So yeah, with regards to navigation menu, I assume he's using the official plugin and maybe he's using classic mode. So with the navigation menu, if you're using classic mode, you would have to use either an AMP supported theme or you would have to add an AMP component. The AMP sidebar component would allow for a navigation menu. But we always tell publishers, have a look for AMP compatible themes. If your theme is not compatible, look at AMP by example and just look for the sidebar component. It's just a way to add a navigation menu to your WordPress website. And yeah, if it's a compatible theme, you can also find a list of compatible themes on the official plugin website, amp-wp.org.
Yes, thank you so much, James. I feel like very interesting question from Raphael coming regarding the usage of AMP on desktop, right?
Yeah.
So this is the talk that we always have here in Google as well, regarding the experience not only on mobile but on desktop. And as I have already mentioned, we have the examples how people use like AMP not only on mobile and desktop, and it can be pretty useful and handy. If you ask me, if it's a must, it's not a must, but it's highly recommended to test it out on the desktop version as well.
Yeah.
Do you have any more comments here, James, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. There's a huge example. Like a lot of publishers, they start off maybe AMP just to improve their mobile website. And once they see the benefit, they just increase AMP coverage or they make their desktop AMP as well. So yeah, there's a lot of cases and it's an increasing number. So I see another question here from Nishu. Nishu asks, where are my files stored after using AMP services? Are they uploaded on Google servers? So AMP is an open source initiative, and websites using AMP are making use of AMP Content Delivery Network. So if you're making use of the AMP Content Delivery Network, your website and files are stored where they normally are. As well as that, your website, there's a cached version on all these delivery network points. So if someone's accessing your website in Australia, it'll load just as fast as if your website was hosted and stored in London. But your website is cached, but your website and files are stored where they normally would be.
Thank you so much, James. It's good to have somebody technical on the Hangout.
No problem.
So there's one more question coming from Tito. I hope I get the name right. So the question is AMP only available at WordPress or is it available to other website templates? So the answer here is like, it's available for different kind of websites. And even if you have like your own website and you have hard coded it by yourself, you can also go ahead and do AMP pages. But the reason we are raising more awareness on WordPress now, because actually with WordPress, we have like different plugins available and you can do the AMP pages, like I would say, much easier. But it should be available different plugins for different CMS platforms. So just go ahead, Google and check it out. And if you have a website which is not like CMS like supported, what I would recommend to do is to check also ampproject.org so you can actually get these manuals and see how you can apply AMP technology to your website.
Yeah. And just on that point as well, on the same website, you'll see support as well. If you're not using a CMS, you'll also find some support on how to assist your website and making it AMP compatible. But like Olga said, it's available for Drupal, for Joomla, for lots of other CMSs.
Cool. Yeah. I see one housekeeping questions. If a person will be available, if the web, just a sec, can you rewatch the stream? Yes, you will be able to rewatch the stream and we will share the deck afterwards, so no worries about it. We will send the link.
We have time for one more question?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
7 minutes we have.
So Peter asked about how do I get my ads served on my AMP website? So if you're using WordPress, or even not WordPress, there are Help Center articles, there are official Google Help Center articles about serving ads on AMP. And as well as that, if you're using WordPress or maybe even with some other CMSs, there are plugins such as Ad Inserter, Advanced Ads, or lots of plugins that make it easy to serve ads on AMP. But ads for AMP are a bit different, so just check the plugin you're using and make sure it supports AMP. If you don't want to use a plugin, you can also look on the AMP official website or in the Google support section.
Cool. And I think we are going to take the very last question. I'm not sure if I can answer it, but I think James will help me here. So it's coming from James, such a coincidence.
Yeah.
So the question is, if there is a similar way to use AMP in Blogger? So my bet is yes, but
there is AMP support in Blogger, but it's not really my technical area. So if you refer to the Blogger guide and support, I'm pretty sure there is AMP in Blogger. Yeah.
Cool. That's a nice actually thing to check as well. So for example, like WordPress, they have like their plugins available, and they probably have their help center, right? You can go ahead and look into that. So I'm sure that Blogger, as James already mentioned, have their own resources. So just try to look for it, and I'm sure that it might be a potential solution there.
Perfect.
Cool. So thank you so much for your time today and for your activity in terms of the questions. And I would be happy to share with you the deck afterwards, and you will have the recording available. So thanks so much and have a nice evening.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.